Summary and reflection. When we look back at everything we've explored together, a clear truth begins to shine. Peace is not something the world can hand to you. It is something you learn to create within yourself. The 7 Buddhist principles, along with the quiet strength of silence, all point to this one simple yet powerful truth. When you learn to affirm yourself, you no longer wait for the world's approval. When you choose wise responses instead of blind reactions, you protect your heart. When you release the need to always be understood, you free yourself from endless disappointment. When you master your emotions, instead of letting them master you, you discover real freedom. When you take responsibility for your own peace, you stop giving others the power to control you. When you see the bigger picture, you stop being trapped by the small storms of today. And when you embrace the strength of silence, you realize that calmness can be the loudest answer of all. All of these paths lead to the same place, a life of balance, wisdom, and unshakable peace. The greatest lesson of all is this: peace is not a gift you stumble upon by chance. Peace is a practice. It is a discipline. It is a choice you make over and over in the middle of life's noise and chaos. And when you walk this path, you begin to live with a freedom the world cannot touch. So I invite you to pause, to breathe, and to reflect. Which of these lessons spoke to your heart the most today? And how can you bring it into your life, starting now? If this message touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Maybe someone you love needs to hear it too. If someone's face came to mind while you were listening, share this video with them. And if you'd like more wisdom like this, more gentle reminders to live with peace and clarity, consider joining our Buddha Wisdom community by subscribing. Thank you, truly, for staying with me until the very end. May you carry peace into your day. May you share it with the people around you. And may your journey forward be filled with clarity, strength, and compassion. 8. Silence is power. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the loudest voice in the room isn't the one that carries the most truth? We often believe that strength is about speaking louder, defending ourselves, or winning every argument. But in reality, silence can be the greatest power we hold. Silence is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not running away. Silence is a choice. A choice to rise above the noise. A choice to protect your peace. A choice to listen when everyone else is only trying to be heard. The Buddha once taught that wise speech is not just about what we say, but also about when we choose not to speak. Because words can heal, but words can also wound. And silence, in the right moment, can be more powerful than the sharpest reply. Think about a time you were in an argument. Someone attacked you with harsh words. Your heart raced, your mind filled with things you wanted to say. But imagine if, instead of fighting back, you paused, you breathed, you let silence speak for you. That silence is not empty. It is full of dignity. It is full of strength. It protects your energy, and it keeps you from being dragged into the chaos of someone else's storm. In Buddhism, we learn that anger is like fire. If you feed it with more fuel, more words, more shouts, more blame, it grows. But when you meet anger with silence, with calmness, the fire slowly dies out. Silence also creates space. Space for wisdom to enter. Space for your heart to soften. Space for the other person to reflect on their own words. It doesn't mean you will never speak. It means when you do, your words will come from clarity, not from impulse. From compassion, not from ego. And here's the truth. Silence is not just for conflict. Silence is for the soul. When you turn off the constant noise of the world, the news, the notifications, the endless chatter, you begin to hear something deeper. You hear your own heart. You hear the stillness beneath your thoughts. And in that stillness, wisdom grows. So, the next time life pulls you into conflict, remember, you don't have to answer every insult. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to fight every battle. Sometimes, silence is the strongest shield. Sometimes, silence is the clearest voice. And sometimes, silence is the only way to keep your spirit unshaken. Silence is not the absence of power. It is power under control. And when you learn to master that power, you begin to walk through life with a peace that no argument can steal. 7. See the bigger picture. 9. Valbuk Tan Long. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you lost sleep over something that today doesn't even matter? A harsh email, a mistake at work, an argument with someone you love. In the moment it feels overwhelming, like the whole world is crashing down on your shoulders. But then weeks, months, or years later, you look back and realize it was just a ripple in the ocean of your life. This is the trap we all fall into. We mistake the small for the big. We let the noise of today blind us to the truth of the bigger picture. The Buddha reminded us often of impermanence, that nothing lasts forever. And this is not a reason for despair. It's a reason for freedom. Because once you understand that everything passes, joy and sorrow, gain and loss, praise and blame, you stop clinging so tightly. You stop wasting energy on things that, in the long run, don't really matter. Ask yourself this: will the thing that upsets you today still matter in a year? In 10 years? Or even at the end of your life? When you hold your problems up against the reality of impermanence, you begin to see them for what they are: temporary clouds passing through the vast sky of your existence. This shift in perspective changes everything. You realize that life is too short to spend it clinging to anger, too precious to waste on trivial arguments, too fleeting to live without love, compassion, and wisdom at the center. Seeing the bigger picture doesn't mean ignoring your struggles. It means putting them in their rightful place. It means remembering that you are more than today's disappointment, more than this moment's frustration. The Buddha said, "Why do you hold on to anger when it burns only you?" When you see the bigger picture, anger softens, resentment loosens, and gratitude begins to take its place. So, how do we practice this in daily life? The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask, in 1 year, will this matter? In 10 years, will this matter? If the answer is no, release it. Let it drift away like dust in the wind. If the answer is yes, if it truly matters, then face it with calm, with compassion, and with the wisdom that comes from seeing life's impermanence. In the end, what truly endures is not the small irritations, but the love you've given, the wisdom you've cultivated, and the peace you've carried within. So look at your life, not as a collection of scattered moments, but as a great journey. The small storms may come and go, but beyond them, there is a horizon wide and infinite. That's the power of seeing the bigger picture. It doesn't erase your problems, but it gives you the strength to rise above them. 6. Master emotional detachment. Have you ever noticed how quickly emotions rise and fall? One moment, you feel calm. The next, a small word, a sudden memory, or even a silence, and your heart is racing. It's as if emotions have the power to carry us away like waves in a storm. This is where suffering begins. Because when we identify too closely with every emotion, we start to believe, this anger is me, this fear is me, this sadness defines who I am. But the Buddha taught something very different. He said, just as rain clouds drift across the sky, so too do our emotions. They come, they go, they do not stay. Emotional detachment does not mean becoming cold. It doesn't mean shutting down your heart. It means learning how to see emotions for what they are, passing visitors, not permanent residents. Think about it. When a storm passes through your town, you don't panic that it will stay forever. You know the clouds will clear, the sun will return. In the same way, anger, fear, or sadness, they too will pass. But here's the challenge. Most of us don't just feel emotions, we feed them. We replay the hurtful words again and again. We let the fear expand by imagining the worst. We cling to sadness as if it proves our worth. That's why detachment is so powerful. It gives us space between what we feel and how we respond. So how do we practice it? First, pause and name what you feel. Simply say inside, this is anger, this is fear, this is sadness. By naming it, you remind yourself it is something you are experiencing, not something you are. Second, breathe. The breath anchors you in the present moment. It's like holding onto a tree while the wind rushes past. The storm is there, but you are not blown away. Third, allow the emotion to be. Do not fight it. Do not judge it. Just observe, as if you were watching clouds move across the sky. This is not suppression. It is freedom. Because when you are no longer controlled by every surge of emotion, you are able to love more deeply. You can care without clinging. You can feel compassion without drowning in pain. The Buddha often spoke of the middle way, not indulging, not rejecting, but walking with balance. Emotional detachment is that middle way in practice. Imagine being in the middle of an argument. Instead of reacting with fire, you pause. You see your anger rising, but you do not become it. You respond from clarity, not from chaos. That is true strength. Detachment doesn't distance you from life, it brings you closer. Because only when your heart is steady can you fully embrace the joys and sorrows of being human, without fear of being destroyed by them. So remember this. Emotions are like clouds. You are the sky. Let the clouds come and go, but stay rooted in your vast, unshakable presence. That is the art of mastering emotional detachment. 5. Your peace is your responsibility. Have you ever noticed how easily our peace gets stolen? A single comment can ruin our entire day. Traffic on the way to work can make us explode inside. Or one disagreement with someone we love. And suddenly, our heart feels like a battlefield. It almost feels like the whole world holds the remote control to our emotions. One push of a button, and we're happy. Another push, and we're angry, anxious, or restless. But here's the hard truth. As long as we let the world decide how we feel, we will never truly be free. The Buddha once said, "No one saves us but ourselves. We ourselves must walk the path." That includes our peace. Your peace is not the job of your partner, not your children, not your boss, not even society. Your peace is your responsibility. At first, that can sound heavy, but look closer. It's actually the most empowering truth you will ever hear. Because if your peace depends on others, you're helpless. But if it depends on you, then freedom is in your hands. Think of it like a garden. If you leave your garden to the mercy of the weather, sometimes it will bloom, sometimes it will wither. But if you care for it each day, watering, pulling weeds, tending gently, it grows strong, no matter the storms outside. Your mind is that garden. Peace is not a gift waiting outside of you. Peace is a discipline, something you choose moment by moment. So how do we practice this? When someone speaks harshly, pause before reacting. Instead of letting their words dictate your mood, notice the breath. Remind yourself, their storm does not have to enter my sky. When life doesn't go as planned, remind yourself, peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of calm in the middle of them. And when anxiety rises, treat it like a guest. Welcome it, breathe with it, and then let it pass without clinging. This is what it means to take responsibility for your peace. Not blaming others, not waiting for the world to be perfect, but choosing again and again to return home to yourself. The Buddha taught, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. If we make this our daily discipline, something amazing happens. The noise of the world loses its power over us. People may come and go. Plans may rise and fall. But within, there is a stillness that no one can steal. And that's when you become untouchable. Not cold, not distant, but strong, rooted, like a mountain that remains unmoved no matter how fierce the winds blow. So, the next time you feel your peace slipping away, remember this simple truth. Your peace is your responsibility, and in that responsibility lies your greatest freedom. 4. Release the need to be understood. Have you ever felt that ache inside when someone misunderstands you? Maybe you tried to explain your intentions, but no matter how carefully you chose your words, they still twisted them. Maybe you gave your heart, yet what came back was doubt or even judgment. It hurts. It hurts because deep down, all of us long for one thing: to be seen as we truly are. But here is the truth the Buddha reminded us. In this world, few will ever truly understand you, and that is okay. The more we fight to be understood, the heavier our suffering becomes. It's like trying to hold water tightly in your hands. The harder you grip, the faster it slips away. Think about it. How many hours, how many sleepless nights have we spent rehearsing explanations in our head, hoping to finally convince someone of our heart's truth? And yet, even if they nod, even if they say, I understand, do we ever feel fully at peace? Or do we still sense a gap, a place where words can never reach? That's because understanding from others is never guaranteed. It rises and falls like the weather. Today they may see you clearly. Tomorrow they may not. So, what if the real freedom does not come from being understood, but from releasing the need for it? Imagine this. You stand in a garden, surrounded by blooming flowers. Some people will pause, smile, and admire the fragrance. Others will walk by without noticing at all. But the flower does not beg for approval. It simply blooms. When you let go of the need to be understood, you begin to live like that flower, rooted in your truth, blooming for the joy of being alive. Not because someone else acknowledges it. This doesn't mean we stop communicating. It doesn't mean we close our hearts. It means we speak our truth gently, without forcing. We share what we can, and then we release the outcome. And here's the practice. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself again and again, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, am I seeking their permission to be me? If the answer is yes, then remind yourself, your worth, your peace, your authenticity do not depend on anyone's understanding. The Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. So let that be your compass. Live in such a way that your actions speak more than your explanations. Live so deeply rooted in kindness and integrity that whether others understand you or not, you remain free. When you stop chasing after being understood, something magical happens. Your heart grows lighter, your mind rests, and suddenly you discover the sweetest freedom of all, to live fully without needing anyone's permission. Because the truth is, you don't need to be understood to be at peace. You just need to be. 3. Not everything deserves your energy. Have you ever noticed how quickly energy can drain when you get caught in a useless argument? A single comment online, a careless remark at work, a family dispute over something so small it barely matters tomorrow. And yet, it lingers. It consumes your mind, your heart, your strength. The truth is, your energy is sacred. It is the fuel of your life, and not everything is worthy of it. The Buddha once compared the mind to a garden. If you water the weeds, they grow wild and take over. But if you nurture the flowers, they bloom and bring beauty to all. Every thought, every reaction, every word is a seed. The question is, what are you choosing to water? Many of us spend so much energy on what is petty. We chase after gossip. We replay insults. We fight battles that have no real victory. And in doing so, we neglect the places where our energy truly matters, our peace, our compassion, our growth. Ask yourself this: how much of today's energy was spent on what actually moves your life forward? And how much was wasted proving a point, defending your ego, or feeding frustration? Here's the paradox. The more you give your energy to trivial things, the weaker you feel. But the more you withhold it, the stronger you become. It is like guarding a sacred flame. If you let every wind blow against it, the flame dies. But if you protect it, it grows steady, bright, and warm. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not every conflict needs your presence. Not every insult requires an answer. Sometimes, silence is the highest form of wisdom. Sometimes, walking away is the greatest act of strength. This doesn't mean you ignore responsibility or avoid what is truly important. It means you learn to choose your battles with clarity. You reserve your energy for what aligns with your purpose, for what nurtures your soul, for what deepens your peace. The Buddha taught, if you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. Every time you refuse to pour energy into the meaningless, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You step closer to freedom. So here is a simple practice. The next time you feel the pull into drama or negativity, pause and ask, does this deserve my energy? Or is my peace more valuable? Most times, you will find the answer is clear. Your peace is worth more. Your growth is worth more. Your energy is too sacred to be scattered on what doesn't matter. Protect it, preserve it, and direct it toward the life you were truly meant to live. Because, in the end, the way you spend your energy is the way you spend your life. 2. Respond, not react. Picture this. You're driving home after a long day. Someone cuts you off, slams on the brakes, and your heart jumps into your throat. In that split second, anger rises. Your hands tighten on the wheel. Your mind screams, "How dare they?" That moment, the heat, the impulse, the rush of emotion, that is what most of us call reaction. Fast, automatic, explosive, and often destructive. The Buddha taught something profoundly simple, yet life-changing. Between stimulus and reaction, there is a space, a pause, a sacred gap. Inside that pause lives your freedom. Because in that breath, you are no longer a prisoner of impulse. You are the master of your response. Think about it. How many arguments have spiraled out of control just because one reaction led to another? One harsh word answered with a harsher word. One slammed door followed by another. Soon, the problem isn't the situation, it's the storm we created around it. But here's the shift. When you pause, when you breathe, you step outside the fire. And suddenly, you have a choice. Do I escalate this? Do I let this anger define me? Or do I respond from a place of clarity, not chaos? This is not weakness. It's strength. It's like standing in the middle of a storm, yet remaining the mountain unmoved, unshaken. The Buddha compared the mind to a clear lake. When disturbed, the water is muddy, and we cannot see the truth. But when still, the reflection is clear. Every pause is like letting the mud settle, so wisdom can shine through. Try remembering this practice. The next time someone provokes you, don't rush to answer. Feel your breath first. Count to 3. Notice the sensation in your body. Let the heat pass like a wave. Then, speak. Your words will be fewer, but more powerful. Your actions slower, but wiser. And people will sense it. They will feel that calm, steady energy in you. And often, it dissolves the tension before it even begins. Imagine how different our homes, our workplaces, even our communities would be if more of us chose to respond instead of react. Conflicts would shrink. Peace would expand. And inner freedom would no longer feel like a distant dream, but a daily practice. So let this truth sink in. You are not your impulses. You are not every fleeting spark of anger or fear. You are the awareness that sees them. And when awareness guides your response, life changes. Because true power is not in controlling others. It is in mastering yourself. 1. Validate yourself from within. They say the loudest applause can vanish in an instant. One day, people lift you up like a hero. The next, they turn away as if you were invisible. And here's the truth. If your worth depends on those changing winds, your peace will always be fragile. Think about it. How many times have you felt proud only after someone noticed your effort? How many nights have you gone to bed replaying a single criticism, letting it steal your sleep? This is the prison of living by external approval. And it's the exact prison the Buddha warned us about. The Buddha once said, "You yourself must strive. The Buddhas only point the way." That teaching is more than 2,500 years old, but it speaks directly to this modern hunger for validation. Because the truth is, no matter how much praise you receive, it's never enough if you don't believe it yourself. And no matter how much criticism comes your way, it can't destroy you unless you already doubt your own worth. So where does true validation come from? It comes from knowing yourself deeply, from standing firm in your values, even when no one is watching. It's like being a tree with roots that go deep into the earth. The storm may shake the branches, but it cannot pull you out of the ground. Pause for a moment and ask, what makes me valuable, even when nobody claps? Maybe it's your kindness, your honesty, your willingness to rise after you fall. Those things don't need an audience. When you learn to recognize them within yourself, you become unshakable. This doesn't mean you stop listening to feedback. It means feedback no longer defines you. You learn from it, but you're not enslaved by it. Imagine this shift. Instead of asking, "Do they see me?" you start asking, "Do I see myself clearly?" Instead of waiting for the world to say, "You're enough," you whisper it to your own heart every single day. And here's the paradox. When you validate yourself from within, the outside world begins to respect you even more. Because people are drawn to those who carry quiet confidence. Not arrogance, but the peace of someone who knows who they are. So if you're tired of chasing approval, try this practice. Each night before you sleep, recall one thing you did that aligned with your true values. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you spoke gently when you could have snapped. Maybe you kept your word, even when it was inconvenient. Write it down, breathe it in, and let that be your applause. Because in the end, the greatest freedom is this: to walk through life knowing that your worth is not on loan from the world. It is already yours. Whole, complete, unshakable. 6 a.m. The city is already awake. Cars rushing, phones buzzing, people arguing on the street. But somewhere, in the middle of all this chaos, there is one person who sits completely still. No anger, no rush, just silence and peace. Words are thrown at them, but none of it lands. Problems come, but they do not shatter. Their calm becomes stronger than the storm. Now imagine if that person was you. This isn't a fantasy. It's a skill, a discipline, a way of living that Buddhist wisdom has preserved for centuries. The ability to stay unbothered, to walk through noise, insults, and distractions, but remain untouchable inside. Doesn't that sound like freedom? Most of us don't realize how much of our energy is stolen every day. A single comment online ruins our mood. A small delay makes us restless. Someone's misunderstanding forces us into endless explanations. And before we know it, our peace, our most sacred treasure, has been handed over to things that don't deserve it. But Buddhism whispers a different truth. Peace is not found when the world becomes calm. Peace is found when the mind becomes calm, in the middle of the world's chaos. That is the real art of being unbothered. And here's the surprising part. The less you react to nonsense, the more powerful you become. Silence speaks louder than anger. Detachment heals faster than arguments. Clarity protects stronger than defense. This is not coldness, it is wisdom. It is knowing which battles matter and which ones are nothing but noise. So in this video, we're going to walk together through timeless Buddhist principles that show you how to remain calm, untouchable, and unshaken, no matter what life throws at you. Think of it as building an inner sanctuary that no insult, no failure, and no chaos can break. Because when you master this art, you stop being a puppet pulled by emotions and start becoming the one who leads the moment. Stay with me until the end, because each principle builds on the last layer by layer, guiding you from simple awareness to a profound inner freedom. And before we dive in, I want to ask you this. If these teachings touch your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, or even share it with someone who may need peace today. That simple act is not just support, it's a way of spreading calmness into a noisy world. Now, let's begin this journey.